Welcome to the Alaska Realtor live stream. My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a associate real estate broker in the state of Alaska and South Central Alaska. And my mission is always to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today, we're very lucky to be joined by Jonathan and Kendra. And they are actually going to be talking about what it's like living down on the Kenai Peninsula and kind of giving you guys kind of a boots on the ground perspective about what it's like living there. And I'm also going to be joined by Nani Palmer, my business partner, who is going to be co-hosting with me today. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump. Oh, real quick. Actually, just as a housekeeping thing, I've said this a million times before. The live streams are very beneficial, gives you guys a chance to really talk directly to your subject experts on whatever it is that we're talking about. So if you do have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, this is the time for you to go ahead and throw that out there and get your answers directly from Jonathan and Kendra as they talk about the Kenai Peninsula. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Question number one. So what exactly brought you guys to the Kenai Peninsula originally?
Well, I can speak for Kendra too. We were both born and raised here. My family's been here since the 60s and just kind of grew up here. And I know her family's been here longer than mine.
Yeah, my great-grandparents actually homesteaded out in Nikiski, also known as North Kenai. And I've lived here my whole life as well, born and raised, and I am now raising my children here because I love it so much.
So, out of curiosity, since you guys are born and raised natural Alaskans, like what do you think keeps people coming back to the Kenai area even after like high school or graduation, going out to college and all those other things? Out of curiosity, what brings them back to the local area?
I don't know. That's a good one. I mean, it's
family.
Family. It's a small town vibe here. I mean, we have like the city of Salada and Kenai, and we have like outlying areas like Nikiski, where we're both from, and Sterling, Kasilof. Like we have the outlying areas, but a lot of family and then a lot of work here. And there's a lot of industry. There's oil field. There's medical's a big one. Tourism in the summertime, fishing guides. There's a lot of industry here. So I think that's what kind of keeps people here. I didn't keep up with my high school very well after I graduated. I kind of went off and did my own thing. But so I don't know where they all wound up, but I know I'm here and Kendra's here.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends, high school, early college days, that ventured out to the States, and some of them still in the States, but it is known for coming back to the Kenai Peninsula. I mean, small town community, and just like Jonathan said, the small town vibes. We're pretty tight-knit here as a community.
Yeah, I get made fun of for knowing people here. Like,
we know everybody.
One of my friends is like, I'll talk to someone, he's like, oh, did you know them? I was like, yeah. He's like, where'd they go to school at? I'm like, well, they went to Kenai or whatever. Like, he just kind of gets on me because I know a lot of people here, and we're like, things about them, and we're our small town. I mean, we know a lot of people. We like it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess what is like some of like those early memories that you guys have of Kenai? Because it's pretty rare to find someone that's lived in like the Kenai area their entire life. So I'm just curious, like how much you guys have seen the area develop, from your earliest memory.
Seen it develop a lot. I mean,
I didn't know what Starbucks was
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and now we have one right up the road.
but I will disclaimer that there are much better coffee shops out there. All the local mom and pop shops, much better.
And that's what it was, there, and it still is. We've still got all of those small businesses that are owned by locals. There's a lot of that, not just coffee shops, restaurants. My kids play hockey. The hockey shops are locally owned, small businesses, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen as far as like growth, we've seen like, I mean, as simple as like our highway infrastructure. Like we've seen developments from 2-lane highways to 4-lane with a turn, I guess 4-lane with a turn lane. So 5-lane roads, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah. And what are those things called? Roundabouts?
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Joke. They're like 10 foot wide and you might as well just call it a 4-way stop. I don't know. Yeah. We just, little things like that have kind of developed. We've grown up here and more businesses have come through. We have more restaurants here now. I mean, you also see things that don't make it either. I mean, people come and go, businesses, they try, they don't make it. A lot of them do though. I mean, I sold a cafe a couple years ago and they seem to be doing really good.
And they have wonderful food. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what type of person usually finds themselves moving to Kenai?
All kinds.
Yeah. Really.
All kinds.
The biggest is probably, I mean, we've already kind of touched on careers with, the medical field and oil field. But most of our clients that are coming in from out of state are outdoor enthusiasts.
I was going to say the same thing.
They love the outdoors. And yeah, I mean, being outside, you guys know how it is. You're not far from us and it gets dark and it gets cold and you have to have those activities that you really enjoy.
We really are kind of Alaska's playground is kind of the nickname Kenai Peninsula has. I mean, we have the Kenai River. That's actually, if you can see behind us, right over that gas station, over a hill is the Kenai River. I mean, we're right behind it. Awesome fishing. The ocean's right there. We have beaches and then tons of hiking, hunting. I mean, people come here. One of my clients moved here from Mississippi, I think. And, man, we've been talking, we're going to try and go bear hunting next year. I mean, people come here, they just love the outdoors. And it's, in the wintertime, you got to really find something you like to do with all the darkness. And if you enjoy being outside, this is the place for you.
So I've got a quick question with that. Do you guys have a grasp or an idea of how many people are maybe seasonal peninsula livers, or is it, would you say the majority of the people there live there year round, or are there a lot of people that just come seasonally for hunting, fishing, and those types of things?
We have a lot of seasonal people here. I don't have a number for that. We have a lot of seasonal, but I mean, the summertime, I would say that on top of seasonal, like the tourism here it's insane. I mean, this place turns into just people everywhere. But as far as like the seasonal thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like our family and friends that we know and clients that we have helped with investment properties.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's quite a bit. I mean, you've got a mixture. The fishing industry, I don't know an actual number or percentage, but we've got people who have lived here forever and their families, generations after generations, and they're in the fishing industry and they live here year round. And then we've got people who are snowbirds. They just come up for the summer. This is their business. And then they'll typically rent their places out in the winter and we'll see them next summer.
I will say snowbirds are pretty common here. I mean, that's snowbird being somebody who's here for the summer and leaves for the winter. I mean, it's definitely, that's what I'm going to do when I get older.
That's fair.
I love now, but when I get a little older, I'm going to go somewhere warm in the winter. But a lot of snowbirds here. It's a pretty common place for it because we do have such an active area in the summertime.
I guess I've never really thought about it. Sorry. I guess I've never really thought about it, but I mean, really, it is kind of a destination location where people specifically move there just for short bursts of the year. and to enjoy the outdoors and different things to that effect. So, with everything you guys have, that makes a lot of sense that you would have a lot of seasonal folks for either the summer industry and or sports.
Definitely.
So what does that do for the housing market there? Like, is there any kind of a shortage if a lot of people are kind of snowbirding seasonal? Like I know some places like Seward, it can be pretty tough finding housing. Is that kind of the same scene that you have down on Kenai Soldotna area?
I don't think it's as big of an issue
Not
here.
to the extent of Seward,
Or Homer for that matter.
because they're quite a bit smaller than our area. We've had low inventory for a couple years now, but places are starting to pop up. We find our clients places to live. I can say the rentals, as far as rentals go, they get booked up pretty quickly. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it like a shortage, but there's a fine line there for sure.
Gotcha.
I'd also say more of like your snowbirds are going to be people like in like river communities, like
RiverQuest,
Riverfront
area, Riverwood, like some of those like river communities that have like like Riverwood's one of them that Kendra's, we call her the queen of Riverwood. That's her spot. Nobody messes with that spot. That's her area, man. She knows everyone down there, and everyone loves her down there. But it has a public boat launch, a public, semi-public, so it's public to the neighborhood only on the deed of property, and it's kind of a private neighborhood. It's got a lot of rules. It's got strict HOAs, but for a good reason. I mean, they don't want. We fight for fishing spots here with the public launches, and so it just keeps it like if you buy a house, you live down there. The HOA and the covenants they really help you out. It's actually kind of a good. I know HOAs are kind of controversial, but
and it makes the community down there. I mean, they're tight knit. You're not you don't have to fight for a fishing spot. You see your neighbor down there catching reds, and they're right next to you. You're helping them net them, and
you don't get Jim Bob with all 80 of his family members down there just filling it up. I mean, it's. But that's the places we see a lot of more of a lot of snowbirds. They like that area because it's an awesome spot in the summertime. They got the fishing, they got the boat launch, they got the fishing access, and then come wintertime, they just they lock the doors, and it is a real safe neighborhood. I mean, they don't board it up and padlock it. I mean, they just kind of lock the door and take off. And the only way you know they're not there is the driveway's not plowed.
Or it is because the neighbors that do live down there year round, they kind of watch after each other.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to our community too. That's kind of how our community is as a whole.
And that's a good point that, the types of houses that are going to be lived in seasonally, they're usually people who aren't going to be trying to go buy like a cookie cutter, like 3-bed, 2-bath. In the middle of kind of a developed subdivision, they're probably going for something that's not, what I guess what the common people would really want.
And you nailed it there. That's exactly right. They're looking for that Alaskan experience. They're not looking for a 3-2 in the middle of Soldotna. They want that Alaskan feel, wood grain.
Right. So we have a couple questions here from the comments section. You guys ready?
Bring it on.
All right. So question number 1 coming in from Mr. Boca Tubero. Really enjoyed Homer, Alaska. Why do people from the lower 48 move to the Kenai versus Homer? Is it mostly seasonal there in the Kenai?
There's a lot of reasons, I guess.
Homer's quite a bit smaller.
It is.
And Homer it's a little quieter in the winter time.
Not a lot of industry in the winter, really. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what do they call it? It's a drinking town with a fishing problem. So,
we love it. I mean, Homer is absolutely beautiful. Jonathan and I both visit at Homer.
We camp down there
Multiple times this summer. It's, when we want to get out of town here in Kenai Soldotna, we go to Homer. But it's a lot quieter. There's, you don't have as many options to go out to eat, even shop for groceries.
It really
options here.
I would say it's definitely more of a seasonal town or more of a seasonal living town. I don't know the demographic there if people like snowbird out of there, but I would assume most of them do, because the amount of people you see in the summertime there versus wintertime, it's definitely a lot less. I mean, wintertime, the spit pretty much shuts down. There's almost nothing out there. Land's End probably stays open. That's the hotel at the end of the road.
And I go down for hockey.
Yeah, she goes for hockey. It's really big
all over the place for hockey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it's definitely it's a different place to live. It has a Seattle vibe, we'll call it. It's a very different demographic there.
It's beautiful though.
It's pretty. I mean, I think the drive to Homer's boring. It's about almost a 2-hour drive, and it's just kind of like flat. And I've done it 100 times, but as soon as you cross that hill, the top of Homer, and you see that bay, it makes the entire drive worth it. You can see the whole spit. It's absolutely beautiful. I took some drone footage down there this summer. I was camping and got some, I want to say it was beluga or seal. Probably think it was seal sitting there fishing. It was looking straight down on us. It was really cool.
Yeah. So to basically sum it up, I would say people from the lower 48 moving to Kenai versus Homer would just be the opportunity. We're bigger. There's more here. Homer's a lot quieter in the wintertime.
Probably more retired too, because like I said, there's not a lot of work industry in the wintertime. So if you can retire without needing an income, you're probably okay with Homer for the wintertime.
Or medical.
For medical.
And that's just kind of every town is going to kind of attract its own kind of demographic, and that's kind of just Homer. But yeah, let me go and read this real quick from Sean Williams. Bought a property near Kenai that's right along a grass runway. If there were similar options in Homer, would have bought closer to Homer, but we love Kenai so far. So kind of just piggybacking off of that. And let's see here. Oh, got a question here from Karen. So let's go and ask her this real quick. How's availability of medical services in Kenai?
Yeah, we have a pretty large hospital, actually. They just built onto it. How many years ago would you say the River Tower went up?
Oh, quite a few years ago, but they just added a cath lab this last year, so they do more heart stuff.
We've got oncology, heart, podiatry. Mm-hmm. We've got quite a bit of medical services here locally. Quite a few outpatient, just general family practices. My family has never had a problem with getting medical attention.
The good thing too, is they are a pretty well versatile hospital. Like Kenner said, oncology, they got cath lab, they got ICU, they got med surg, podiatry, they got what's the baby OB? No, OB, the baby doctors.
Jonathan doesn't have babies yet.
No kids, but they got everything. But the good thing is if you have any major issues, Anchorage is a short flight away. And I just had a friend go to the hospital last week. She had a procedure anyway, more than our hospital can handle. I think it was a 7-minute flight to Anchorage. They put her on the light flight. They put her on the jet, flew to Anchorage, did the stuff. Now she's home, got home yesterday, doing healthy. But we have the big hospitals in Anchorage, and we have the helicopters, airplanes, fixed wings, stuff like that. They know if it's more than they can handle, they'll just ship you right to Anchorage, or they can even, if it's even that bad, they'll just ship you to Seattle. Any small town, I guess, where they do what they can, but they have the resources to get you somewhere if you need to go.
Yeah, but as far as just general medical, we've got quite a few options.
If somebody's needing to seek cancer treatments, do they have to go to Anchorage for that, or do you guys have facilities that handle some of those like regular treatments in that area, out of curiosity?
floor 3 of the River Tower, we have oncology. My wife used to work in there actually for a couple of years with the doctor there. She loved her job there.
Yeah, and my grandfather actually just went through all the treatment right here locally in the River Tower at Central Peninsula Hospital.
Radiation, infusion. They can do it all here with the cancer stuff. I don't know about all the procedures, like as far as surgery goes. You might have to go out of town for the surgery part of it, but as far as like you get back for treatment, they can do all the treatments, and they have some good doctors here for that.
Awesome.
Outstanding. So we've got another question here from Mr. Boca Tubero. So is it still true that the homestead exemption for those over 60 is $350,000 for your home still upon retirement? Do you guys have any insights on the homestead exemption on Kenai?
I haven't heard of that.
No, I have not. I haven't heard of that.
Is he talking about tax exemption?
Right.
What I was going to bring up. The Kenai Peninsula Borough has a tax exemption for those over 60. Also, they've got a tax exemption. Is it $50,000?
$50,000 for primary residence.
For your primary residence. So, it's a year. Your first year, you can apply for it, and then it just sticks with your taxes throughout. But you get that $50,000 exemption, and then not sure about the homestead exemption, but I have not seen that come up in the last 6-7
homestead's
years.
an old term we've known as kids.
It is.
Came in and they were, if I understand it correctly, and don't quote me on it, but they were able to get land from the government, but they had 12 months to develop it, is the way I understand it. But at the over 60, the 350, that might be a tax exemption. I don't know the exact number. It might even be 65. I can't remember, but
It's 350. Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know about the 350, but yeah, the Kenai Peninsula Borough Tax Assessing Department does give that exemption for those 60 and older.
And Boca, that's funny. That's Florida, isn't it? Boca de Barrow, Boca Inlet. I like the handle. That's funny.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, if you're coming in from Florida, I mean, any exemptions they have, they usually call it like homestead exemption, even though not really technically homesteading. So yeah, I think that's gotta love Florida and how they name things.
So I have clients that consider that location for a retirement plan, partially due to the taxes in the area. Can you speak to how far one would have to go outside of the proper area to not have taxes, or what the taxes look like in your local area, just so somebody could have an idea of what that looks like?
You know the old saying, right? Death and taxes, those things you can't avoid. And so,
although I did just have a client that I had been working with for many years, and she bought somewhere up by you, Nani, and she had told me that there was no taxes.
Really?
And I have
never heard that. There's tax. She has a cabin in the middle of nowhere,
and I pay taxes on my cabin.
There's no fire service, medical service, no road service, no schools. There's no reason to have property tax, but there's still taxes. I don't know.
Yeah,
all the way from Kenai to Homer, everywhere along the way, there's no places that are tax free per se. Okay, because people ask me, I don't know about that.
I will say, when I get calls from people from out of state and they're like, "Hey, what's the property tax on this?" They'll say $350,000, $400,000. I tell them, and they're like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Like,
is there another zero on
that? Is there a catch? I mean, I can look up some quick taxes if I need to, but what's your taxes a year on your house? I think mine's like $1,000.
Yeah.
Like it's
for like a month, a year. Like how long? How much is that?
Our mill rate's pretty low.
Okay, I kind of hate you, man. I am paying like $1,100 a month right now on like one of my properties in Eagle River. So,
good grief.
Yeah, well, fourplex and all that, so I kind of get it. But yeah, it's they'll get you.
Yeah, taxes are We're low here. They should be lower in places, but they are still low here.
Absolutely. So we do have another question coming in from Karen. And are building sites easy to find, around an acre and connected to utilities and water?
Definitely.
Yep.
The utilities and water is going to be the catch. So we have lots of land to build. We got all kinds of area to build on. We have more land listings than we do house listings at any point in time. The utilities, gas and electric, probably 50-60% of the land has that nearby, like within reasonable distance to bring in. We don't have a lot of city water, city sewer, unless you're within the actual city of Soldana and the city of Kenai. But we have well and septic and gas and electric. So,
And the places that natural gas isn't available, most cases electric is nearby, and then most of those homeowners will fuel their homes with oil instead of natural gas.
Real common heating. It's essentially it's Jet A. It's number one diesel. It's the same thing. It's got the sulfur in it, so it's the good stuff, and it's super common here.
I actually personally have had oil, and I got natural gas put in 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's definitely
winning. That's winning.
Yep, a lot cheaper. Outstanding. Are there any issues that you guys will run into occasionally with with trying to find a good place to build? Any things you need to look out for specifically for Kenai when it relates to the water, the ground not perking, anything like that?
Yeah, good point. I mean, there's quite a few people that come up here and they see like this beautiful ocean view property for a good price, and there's a catch for that. It means it has erosion. Our Cook Inlet, along the whole Cook Inlet, not exactly every spot, but most of it has erosion, and
some sort of erosion, whether it be minimal or 3 to 4 feet of erosion a year. Sometimes
that's huge. That could be at your back door in a couple of years. Or we have a lot of water table, and that's what's important about hiring a professional to help you find property here, because we see it. We have sellers that bought land up here a year ago from out of state, and they're like, I got 10 acres. It was such a good price. And they don't realize that there's no road to it. It's all underwater. It's all swamp, and it's way, way away from utilities. And so we end up helping them sell it again to somebody who wants recreational land. We call that recreational land here. It's an awesome place.
Off the grid.
Grid. It's a good place to build a cabin, hunting, fishing, but it's really important to have a professional in town here like us who's been here a long, long time to help you find that land. Other than that, I mean, like I said, water table, erosion, those are our two big ones. Lakefront and view is a little harder to find, but we can definitely find it. It's just you might be waiting a little longer than just finding a plain 1 acre parcel with utilities close and no view.
Outstanding. So I've got a question coming in here from Eric. I think he's talking about just how high the water table is. So do you guys have kind of an idea generally? Like, are we talking, I know in Barrow, it's like 10 feet or something like that. Like, it's ridiculously high.
We've got high and low stuff. We've got, like, it depends on the area. The whole peninsula doesn't have like a specific depth. Different areas, higher and lower spots.
Some places like 7 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of septic issues this last year because we had a really big snow year and we had a lot of rain this year. We had houses that had passed septics less than 90 days ago had a failed septic because there's so much water melt this year. But there's a place just 4 miles down the road off Funny River that's 300 drill a well. It's almost 300 feet to drill a well there. I mean, it really does vary where you are. It's not like a blanket. This is what you're going to get. It super varies.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of just developing land in general.
Mm-hmm. It's good to know your area. Find someone who knows the area. And then we have resources on the borough website to tell us kind of ideas of like soil samples, perk tests, and where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we got a couple more questions from the comment section. And so let's go ahead and go here with Mr. Oliver Wright is Seldovia, and I am going to butcher this. Nanwalik. Okay, closer to Port Lock and Port Chatham. Seldovia, supposedly at 16 miles.
I'm not sure I understand. Sovia, Oregon, closer to Port Lock. I'm familiar with Seldovia, but I am not familiar with the other places there.
Kind of out of your area, huh?
Yeah. Seldovia is one of my favorite places to visit in the summertime.
Yeah, I'll leave Kendra to this one. She loves that place. I've never been.
But you have to either fly or boat in. There's no road to Seldovia from the peninsula. But I am not sure about Nanwalik or Port Lock or Port Chatham.
I know I've heard of Nanwalik. I know it's in our area, but I've never been over there.
Yeah. Apps. Yep, that's a new one on me. So
I feel like she was trying to stump us. She was like,
it's like, there you go. You got us. So got a question here from Boca. How often do people come up there to buy some land and build a small cabin or tiny home? Just wondering how difficult it is to build from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
All the time we get that call, and people, that's one of my most common calls is they watch Alone on History Channel and they want to come up here and do the Alone thing, and not as easy as everyone says it is.
Or the homesteading.
The homesteading, yeah. People want to come up here and build an off-grid cabin. Well, they don't realize that we got a lot of snow, we got a lot of cold, we got a lot of wind.
We've had quite a few clients though that we found them land and they have built, just a small place, whether it be for year-round living or to snowbird, just a place to come for the summer, and then they'll winterize it in the winter or rent it out while they're gone. Yeah, pretty often.
A lot of those places like that, they're just essentially a crash pad. I mean, they build a cabin. We have a shed company in town. They build they're Sterling Shed Company, but they build like tiny houses, cabins. They're 2x4 frames, so they're not real great for wintertime. They'll put some insulation, some power in there, and then that's their fish camp for the summer. They'll come here, fish, have a good time, and then they'll just basically shut it down and take off in the winter. I mean, not a lot of small cabin, tiny houses full time. I mean, there's a lot of small cabins here, a lot of recreational. I mean, Kendra, they have one up there in the Caribou Hills, and they go there for holidays and weekends, and it's just a great place for kids and family to go hang out, but no real full-time living in small cabins. There's a few places, but not real common.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just answer Bakoa's question earlier where he had asked about the senior exemption. And I did find that it's up to 300,000 in the area for senior citizen exemption. And that's starting at the age of 65 and a surviving spouse at the age of 60. So that's what it is in that area. And that's on the Kenai website there for the city.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I had a coworker that was turning 65 at my old job, and I remember he was super excited for it. So 65 stuck in my head, but I couldn't remember what the actual taxable value was.
Yeah, 300.
Cool.
Perfect. All right. So you guys were kind of talking a little bit about the snow, the wind, the cold, and all that. That does bring us to next question here. What are the winters like? Because I know people hear about winters in Alaska, and it's like one size fits all. And Kenai is a lot different from Fairbanks. Fairbanks is different from Kodiak, and it's just different all over the place. So, what is y'all's flavor of winter like?
It's the best time of year here.
In John's opinion.
I love summer here as long as it doesn't rain all summer long. Like, it's okay to have some rain, but summer here in Alaska is super beautiful, but like this last summer was just all rain. I was so ready for snow, and I spend almost every weekend in the mountains. Group of 4 or 5 of us, we go up riding. We got some of the Chugach mountain range. We take we ride Polaris.
Snow machines.
Snow machines, yeah. A couple ski-doo riders. We go up, do all that fun stuff. It's funny though, our mountains are like 2,500 to 3,500 feet versus like Colorado where you start at 10. So not a lot of boost sleds here. Really do we get a lot of our really good snow starting at about 1,500 feet. It's real strange being so low to have such good snow, but lots of areas to ride here. That's really that's what keeps me sane and happy in Alaska in the wintertime.
Yeah, and I in my high school, early college days, I would go and ride in the mountains, but now I'm a mom and have 4 kids, so I don't do that much anymore. But my family has always, we've always enjoyed winter, and that's why we have a cabin. We go to the cabin, we sled, we snow machine. My family, it is a huge hunting family. We trap, we go ice fishing, take the kids, hike into the lakes, drill our holes, catch some fish. Yeah, and hunting.
A lot of hunting. I just got back from Kodiak a couple weeks ago. I went deer hunting down there. It was an absolute blast. We've all got our limits, 3 deer apiece. Actually, one guy only got 2 out of his 3, only because he was trying to get a goat. He really, really wanted to get a goat, and he was passed on here to get the goat. He could have had 10 deer, but he passed up on his last one. But a lot of hunting here. Spruce hen hunting, moose, bear. I mean, it's a lot of outdoors, and I mean that kind of stuff. The moose and the bear, all that stuff kind of ends in the wintertime. But Kodiak winter is the deer season. But man, it's just so pretty, man. Waking up on it's just something I remember as a kid. Like wake up on Christmas and everything's like white and snowy, and we open our gifts, and me and my brother, and we take off out in the snow with our snow gear on, going sledding down the hill by our backyard. It's amazing. I love it.
Then mom calls you in for hot cocoa and cookies.
That's a core memory. It's definitely a core memory. Do you guys get a whole lot of...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
What should somebody like mentally prepare for? Like they're new to Alaska and they've kind of already settled on that location. Like what should they know before their first year in Kenai, Alaska, and maybe be prepared for that? Maybe your clients come back and they're like, I wish I would have known this, or I didn't realize this. What would you share with people for that?
Well, I think it goes more than just saying Kenai. I think dark. It really catches people off guard. I mean, the shortest day of the year, it's light at like 10 and dark at 3. I mean, darkness gets to people. I mean, good headlights. And what was yours?
Winter tires for your vehicle.
Stay out of the ditch.
Yeah, and other cars.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just typical winter weather. Roads. Our roads are, the borough and the state try their best to keep up on them, but Nani and Jamin, I know you guys just recently went through this with the road situation, and sometimes we get dumped on. I mean, if
they can't keep up,
it won't snow for days, and then we get dumped on, and we've had it to where people couldn't get out of their driveways for a couple days.
Oh man, and it's again, that's comes with the beautiful time of year.
Yeah.
We all get to stay home and hang out and for the day. I mean, last year, gosh, we had more snow than I've seen in my entire life in one storm. It was insane. I mean, I've never been able to not get out of my driveway, and me and the wife both drive Ram trucks. She has a Rebel with lockers, studded tires, a little bit of a lift, and I came out of the garage full power and didn't get out. I was stuck right there. I mean, all the things I needed to get out of the snow, and I was there to stay. But like again, I mean, we were snowed in for a couple of days. The plows, they can only do the best they can, but I mean, we don't get a lot of that ice storms like the states get. We do have some freezing rain occasionally. We have some freezing fog, but I drove truck for 10 years before I was into real estate, and we really do have a pretty good road system here. I mean, there is like times you got to really watch what you're doing, but other than that, I mean, it's just kind of learn to not follow so close, brake sooner, don't turn super hard. No fast movements. As soon as you figure that out, you're going to do okay.
But it's beautiful here. I mean, the cities, I don't know if Kenai's doing them anymore, but city of Soldotna, you can't see them. But they'll put Christmas lights and stuff on our light poles. And we've got a local park here, and it's pretty.
Yeah, we got the Frozen River Festival that are coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's right across the street. They do events there. They do outdoor concerts and movies, and yeah.
And they got a Winter Beer Fest coming up here, I think, probably after the New Year.
Yep, Frozen River Fest.
Yeah, they have a huge thing down, like across the street of our Kenai River. What do you call it? The park.
Across the street?
Yeah.
Kenai River Park.
Kenai River Park?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, they have it's a big convention area. They have the Frozen River Festival in summertime.
And a lot of.
I always call it Wednesday Market. I don't know why it's Wednesday Market. I call it the Wednesday Market Park because that's
the Wednesday Market Park.
We walk to lunch over there. They have food trucks, so we call it the Wednesday Market.
But we'll actually get Wednesday markets and when there's concerts in the summertime, and then in the wintertime when we've got like the Frozen River Fest, we get a lot of people that come and visit throughout Alaska.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, you mentioned that your kids keep you pretty busy. How do you feel about activities? I know when I'm even talking about people coming into Anchorage, they're like, oh, there's not enough activities and stuff for kids to do. What is your thoughts of, activities, sports, and those types of things available to families and kids in the area?
I would be surprised if you heard that down here. I don't know. They keep me pretty busy. There's quite a bit of sports. So I've got 4 kids. 3 of them are in hockey. One of them is in dance. Sports are, most of the kids I know are involved in sports, high school sports, especially in the wintertime, school's going on. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's a lack of sports opportunity for kids to be in sports. And not just that, but like our local public library will put on events there to bring kids in, and just businesses within our community. They throw a lot of events. Jonathan and I are doing a movie event too. We keep our kids busy with sports and all that for sure.
That's awesome. I know that's important. Keeping kids busy. Having lots of activities for them.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we do have a question coming in from Boca real quick here. And he's just asking how's the drive in the winter to the Kenai in the winter time coming in from Anchorage. They're looking just to do some more visiting in the winter time. So they're just trying to figure out that drive. Jonathan, you're kind of the in-house expert on making that drive from Kenai to Anchorage. So what's the word?
511 is the traffic cams we have here. You can download the 511 app and you can see all the traffic cams. They have Turn Against Summit Lake, Turn Lake, Cooper Landing, and Jean Lake. They have all the cameras. So I check those religiously when I drive. You can really see what the roads are doing. Just watch the forecast. Going up a few weeks ago was actually the worst drive I've ever gone through. The road was technically closed, but we had a plane to catch. We were going hunting, and we went for it anyways. And we made it. It was fine. It was 2.5, 3 feet of snow on the road. There was 1 lane plowed. It was a very intense drive. And most of the pass we were doing like 30 miles an hour, pushing snow the whole way. And other than that, but that's rare. Most of the time it's really just drive accordingly for the conditions. You get slick, you get all flavors. You go turning an arm, you get some rain. You start to climb the pass, and the rain turns to snow. Keep your headlights on all the time. Just really be aware of other drivers is my biggest thing. You got to really watch the other people out there. But other than that, it's not the worst. I always plan for around 3.5 hours, but most of the time I can do it in less than that. 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's about an average drive.
Yeah.
And it's just winter. We call it just winter driving. You just kind of plan for it, but really it's not that bad. The plow trucks really keep up on it.
Outstanding. So we do have another question coming in here from Oliver. And not sure if you guys are going to know the answer to this one, but when is Hiking Trails in Hope open for horse riding?
Ooh, so for horse riding in Hope, actually Hope is a really fun place. I camped there. It's a neat little town. I know for horse riding specifically, there is the Resurrection Pass. It goes from Coop Landing to Hope. I believe it's somewhere in the 20 some miles. Super cool trail, lots of state cabins there. We mountain bike up there. I know, gosh, don't quote me. I'm not a big horse person, but I believe horseback riding opens a certain time of the summer, usually later in the summer. I want to say towards July.
I was going to say July too.
The horses tend to really track up the trail with that softer, when the ground gets soft with the rain. So it really kind of chops up the trail for most hikers and bikers. So they tend to limit that away from the springtime. But I know the hiking trails are open all year round for hiking and mountain biking, as long as you can go anytime depending on weather conditions and snow. But as far as horseback goes, I believe it tends to open later summer.
Gotcha. And got another question here from Mr. KT. What jobs would be available for engineering professionals? What does the industry look like there?
Really depends on what engineering you're going into. I mean, we have like process tech, which is, we have a refinery in town that keeps a lot of those guys employed. It's an awesome job to work at. I mean, people there make good money. It's a week and week usually.
And not just here, but we've got a lot of people who live here and travel to the North Slope of Alaska. And those jobs are available up there.
Mm-hmm.
The borough as well.
Yeah.
Engineering.
Yeah, it depends on it's civil engineering or like petroleum engineering. I mean, it really depends what kind of engineering you're at, but a lot of petroleum engineering here. I mean, we've got a lot of, even our local, like right here in town, we have a lot of gas and oil wells. Within Hillcorp is the owner of those wells, the leaseholders. Platform jobs, and then like Kendra says too, like the North Slope, lots and lots of people here do those rotations. It's typically a 2-and-2 rotation. You get 2 weeks off a year, or 2 weeks off, 2 weeks a year, 2 weeks off.
Right.
Yeah,
That's pretty rough. Yeah.
So 2 weeks off at a time, it's usually pretty good. A lot of guys like that rotation. I personally, when I was in the oil field back in the day, I didn't ever want to do that. I kind of wanted to work like a 4-10 or a 5-day a week. I was not really interested in being gone a lot, but man, a lot of guys like that rotation. They get 2 weeks off, and it's great.
Yeah, outstanding. And I think we've got one more question here. Well, a couple more questions. So coming in from Sean, do you know if there is any barnuminium or shop builders around the Kenai and Soldotna? It seems like most I find on Google are up at Anchorage to Palmer areas.
We call them shouse here. Shop house.
Shouse?
Shop house.
Got it. Okay. It sounded very Swedish or something for a second. I was like, what? Okay.
There's quite a few of those. I've talked to a couple builders in town. I was like, look, if you can just build a house with a small house with a big shop, you'd sell 100 of those things here. There's not enough of them, but there is quite a few. I mean,
we've got quite a few custom builders that
Yeah.
we're in touch with that, yeah.
we just closed on one this week that had I don't remember the exact dimension of the shop. It was a 4-bedroom house, 3 bathrooms, I believe. Yeah, 3 bathrooms and 2.5 bath maybe. But it was a big enough shop to park like a big camper and two to 4 vehicles. And it was a big shop. I mean, it was great. I'd say probably 2 vehicles in a big workspace, or maybe you can even cram 4 vehicles in a camper in there. But quite a few of those, they don't pop up often. People really like them here, but they do come around. And then as far as builders go, there are custom builders here that would really build you whatever you had in mind.
Whatever you want.
I do think they are getting more traction, though. I think a lot of people are really wanting those here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm starting to see more and more of them kind of popping up in the Matsu Valley as well. Anchorage, not as much, but definitely out in the Matsu Valley, I've seen them start to become more popular.
Well, if Sean's a builder, then maybe he should be coming out to the Kenai area and building more of them for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, Want to come build shop houses here, barn dominions? I will help you sell every one of them.
Yeah, never a shortage of those for sure.
I think garages should be a requirement here.
Really should be. And kind of talking on that thought, this is actually a good time to ask this question. What jobs are available kind of down in the Kenai?
I think our biggest industry is really the oil and gas industry. I mean, that, like Kendra touched a minute ago, it's people that travel North Slope. They do the rotations. They got the Cook Inlet with the platforms. We got the west side of the Cook Inlet for the oil field, gas fields. It's a big area. Fishing guides, medical industry, and then restaurants. Yeah, I mean, really anything you can think of, you can do it here. But I'd say our biggest ones are oil and gas, and tourism's a big one too.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of curious with the transition from a lot of people moving to being able to work online. Have you seen an influx of people who are looking for that recreational lifestyle that the Kenai Peninsula offers and can just work from online? Are you finding there's more online workers than what you guys have historically had in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a few. I would say in the last year, most of our clients moving in from out of state. We've had a couple families moving in, troopers. That's another job.
Yeah,
Alaska State Troopers, law enforcement. I've had a couple families there, and then, but most of them, I don't know, 75, 80%. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are now workers, since COVID, they're working online. They have that. And guess what their number one priority is? It's internet.
Yeah, that's a big, and that's with Starlink. And then we have what's called like fixed wireless. So a couple of our providers offer that: Spitsbots, ACS, GCI. It's like a satellite dish that talks straight to the cell tower. So it's equivalent to DSL without the hard wiring. And it's making places more available for that internet. And I remember quite a few of our clients through COVID, and I don't want to get political on anybody, but we are kind of the land of the free. I mean, we really didn't see those restrictions that everywhere else had. I mean, I had a lot of clients come from out of state that were on super lockdown and come up here and they're like,
those were their words. We want to be free. So help us find a place to live here.
And you walk through town here and you never thought anything ever happened. It was beautiful. You go to, not to dog on Jamin and Anchorage, but Anchorage in that area. I mean, they were coming down here. We had a lot of clients just moving out to come down here. We really saw probably the least impact of anybody else as far as that went. So a lot of remote workers from out of state. Now that COVID has kind of gone to the wayside, we really haven't seen it that much right now. But
the remote workers are staying there. They're not going away. They haven't left. The remote work is still a thing as far as that goes. There's been a big change, even along the lower 48, where people are shopping more lifestyle for their family opposed to location, because so many people can work from the internet and continue to provide a living for their family. And so the real draw is what's the area provide for us. So what would you say outside of recreation, like what are the other big draws to the area?
I mean, kind of touched on those: recreation, working income, small town feel. I mean,
food,
yeah. Good food.
We do have a lot of good food. Yep.
Oh, good.
Lots of options.
Actually, funny
for
enough,
a small town.
Yeah,
at least.
We have a lot of good Mexican food here. Out of oddly enough, actually one of our fellow agents in the office here, his family owns a Mexican restaurant. Man, it is so good. It's like quesadilla I get there is just bomb.
Yeah, I've noticed for whatever reason, there are just so many Mexican restaurants up here in Alaska. I mean, especially Eagle River, every other restaurant is Mexican. I think it's just the margin for profit is just better with tortilla chips versus, burgers and steak. But that's just my theory.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
You're probably spot on. That makes sense.
But what's funny is they're all so good. I'm sitting low in my chair so you can't see me, but I do like food.
All right, so got a question here from the Hot Shot, and the Kenai Peninsula College local to Soldotna near Kenai has a dual degree program for dual degree industrial process instrumentation and process technology. I myself am studying instrumentation, so if you're looking at leveling up, that is definitely an option.
Yeah, that's a wonderful program here. I mean, you can do so much with that degree in Alaska. My dad, growing up, my dad was oil filled my whole life. My husband is now. My brother, my uncles. I mean, that's a great degree to have and be able to live here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like my neighbor, he did the same thing. I remember he wanted to get in the refinery, so he took a process tech degree. And granted, you don't need that degree to get into the oil field here. I mean, you can become a processor, production, any sort of production job without that degree, but it really does help. And the college here is a good place for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so got a question real quick here then. What are some things about Kenai you just really can't find anywhere else in Alaska? Like, anywhere in Alaska is really unique, but what about Kenai makes Kenai unique within Alaska itself?
We're surrounded by ocean.
Yeah, that's true. Like Kendra said, we're surrounded by the ocean.
Ocean and river. We're surrounded by water.
Yep, and growing up, we grew up like well within our means. Like we didn't have a lot growing up, so we went to the beach a lot, and that was quite the pastime. I mean, we'd have like beach fires and hot dogs. Like that's super common. I mean, a lot of people grew up that way here. And
looking for agates.
Yep, agates are kind of we have a tray behind us. Yeah,
I've got my plate.
She's got a tray here of agates that people love. Their clear rocks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've got them right here. That's how important they are for me.
Yeah, so much. I personally can't. You can put an agate in front of me, and I can't find it. My wife, she's amazing. She can see those things a mile away. I don't know. I just don't have the attention span for it. But we have a lot of fishing here. I mean, I guess there's salmon elsewhere in Alaska, but we really have like the Kenai River Kings, the Reds. I mean, we have one of our agents leaving out of here right up for the night. We have a lot of good fishing here. So I've lost track of mine here with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, a lot of fishing, salmon. So.
Yeah, and
hiking trails. There's a lot of hiking trails.
There's a lot of hiking, and just being surrounded
Camping.
by water. I mean, that's what I love the most. Like Jonathan said, it's not just fishing; it's the beach access. You can, in my opinion, we're not centralized in Alaska, but as far as being surrounded by ocean, we can go to Homer,
Seward,
and then we can go to Seward, and then when we need to go to Costco, we come up to see Jamin and go to Costco in Anchorage. I just love our location. It's just the small town vibes, and then if you want to go bigger, it's 2 hour, 45-minute drive.
I think knowing a lot of fishermen in the area, they come and hang out in your location. It's the only place that you can really get to on this road system and get that type of lifestyle. It seemed like you said, it's surrounded by the water and all the other features without getting on a boat and going to one of the other islands or going to some of the other remote locations in Alaska, which, I mean, for those that don't live here, it can cost you just as much to stay in the state of Alaska as it can to fly to Hawaii. So being able to be on the road system is huge up here. So
that's a very good point, Nani.
Yeah,
Hawaii, another place in Alaska. Often we choose the Hawaii alternative to flying to another town, unless you're getting some nice Kodiak bear or going on a special fishing or hunting trip. But you're on the road system, which is, I think, really kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's really a lot to do here. I guess I don't know everywhere else in Alaska. I kind of know Anchorage a little bit. I've been all over Alaska, but I really saw it through a windshield. I mean, we were doing a lot of drive around and a lot of snow machining. So, I mean, we really don't get to experience all the cultural stuff in all the other towns, and cities. But I mean, we really, as far as like Kenai, where we don't find anywhere else, I mean, we really have that small town vibe, like Kendra said. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing here that you just don't see. And we get a lot of clients that come up here from out of state, and they're just like, why is everybody so nice here?
Yeah, that is
Like,
very true.
It's just kind of how it is. I mean, you go in the ditch and somebody's behind you pulling you out. I mean, you need help in the grocery store, someone's there. I mean, it's just kind of, heck, I go to the gym. Well, I was going a lot more, but not as much lately. But anyway, like you go there and you just kind of go there for like a week or two at the same time. You run to the same people there and you kind of just get to know them. Like I've met friends that way. I mean, just everyone's so friendly. It's not like people put their head down and just do what they do. It's
everybody's willing to help each other out too. Yep.
I've been in the mountains riding and just ran into a couple guys up there, and we ended up kind of connecting, changing numbers. And now they're part of a riding group. Like everyone's here kind of open to just get to know people. It's
easy to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just seems like it's such a unique lifestyle to be living there that, if you see other people living there, you already share a lot in common with them, I feel.
Correct. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So, everyone, we are going to be kind of winding down here pretty quickly. So I'm going to say this is kind of your 10-minute call. So if you got questions, concerns, objections, this is your time. Go ahead and get those into the comments section. We'll get those answered as we're wrapping up here. But Jonathan and Kendra, I actually did have one question real quick here. As locals, what are your thoughts on like the dip netting season time for Kenai? That might be a hot button topic for people on the Kenai. So what are your, I guess first explain for people what dip netting is.
I was going to say, there's a caveat to dip netting here. It is a local Alaskan resident only thing. It's a subsistence program. So basically you get a 15-foot pole with a big old round ring on the end of the gill net. You just stick it out in the river and you pull fish in. And I haven't done it since a kid. I think it's 25 fish a person.
It depends.
Depends, yeah.
On the year and the run and stuff. But you can do it out of a boat or you can do it right from shore.
We did it from shore when I was a kid, and we were piling them things in.
I try and stay home.
Yeah.
25 for head of household, 10 for each additional person. I know this because we go every year.
Yeah, that sounds right. We I will say we love out of state people coming to visit. It is awesome. But as far as dip netters go, and it's not everyone, but they're typically from Alaska.
Hey now.
They're all from Alaska, but they're not typically from the peninsula, I should say. I'm probably not going to be making any friends here, but they don't bring a lot of
just speaking truth here.
Okay, well, here's the truth. They don't bring a lot to the economy. They're smart. I mean, they load up on Costco groceries in Anchorage. They come down here. They cook their own foods. They don't bring a lot to the restaurant market. They don't bring a lot to our stores here because they are smart. They do load up on their groceries. They come down for the weekend. They take off. The biggest part that I see, and I want this to go out to everyone watching, and Alaskan all is pick up your trash. That's the biggest problem we have. Is they leave. They'll bring their charcoal barbecuer down that's been on their back porch for 10 years. They'll cook on it and they'll leave it there. They'll throw their beer cans, their pop cans, their bottles, their trash. They just kind of come down, they abuse it, and they leave. And that's the really biggest issue. And when the dumpster's full, they just keep piling trash on. The birds scattered around. I mean, luckily we have some local government here really pushing to get some more dumpsters here so people quit just piling trash around the dumpster for the wildlife to scatter. But I love it here. I really love our beaches. I mean, I grew up here. I don't want to see places get trashed out. And that's the big problem we have here is people just need to really come in and respect the land. And I'm not like peace, love, hippie dude, but like they just need to respect our area. I don't want.
It's a beautiful area, and it does. When that happens, it makes us sad.
Yeah.
But we clean it up and we wait for it again next year.
Exactly.
The traffic, I can't talk on behalf of that.
Forgot about that part.
I was about to say, like, it's not just the trash; it's also like,
the
because I mean, it proportionally, like, how much does y'all's population just balloon overnight? Like, is it like double, triple?
It's insane. So from my house to the office, and we're in Soldotna, it's about a 7-minute drive normally, even winter time. Dip netting season is a good 20 to 40 minutes, depending on, what weekend is it opening, or is it the last weekend. And then I actually, during dip netting season, I go to Anchorage and then I come home when it's over. And when I come home, the traffic was backed up from the Seward Y to Sterling going back up.
Oh, jeez.
So traffic, it's a little slower going around here.
It's bumper to bumper the whole way. And I like salmon, but I don't like it that much.
No, it's like a party. I mean, it's like a party on the highway. It's like you said, bumper to bumper. I think last year it took us, I hit it at the wrong time. Normally I go midweek, but we ended up there on the weekend, and I think it took us like 45 minutes to get through town. So I totally empathize with how slammed you guys get with the population all over the state, like this ascending on your location, because it is pretty intense. But I would seeing you're saying stuff like take your trash, get rid of it, be nice, and shop local. I mean, that's honestly one of my favorite things to do when I go there is I like to shop local. So go and spread some love to the businesses who are there all year round. They've got so many cute boutique places. I love the boutiques down there. They're just amazing. They have some really unique things that you can't find anywhere in Anchorage. So I love going down there for that.
We love that opinion. Like your opinion, if everyone could have that opinion, it's just fantastic. And and I want to rag on everyone. I mean, they really do. People here use that sort of subsistence to feed their families. I mean, you got a household and husband, wife, and kids, and they can really live off of that salmon for a good portion of the year. It is important for lower income people and stuff to enjoy that fish. And I mean, it's almost silly to say, like, when I travel out of state, like, salmon is like, it's like gold, and like people use it for like subsistence, and we get it like fresh. And I will say something about fresh, never frozen salmon is just, it's something else. But but it's just, I mean, people really do live off of that. It's an important staple for households here. But just treat the land good.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess one thing to also keep in mind, just with the dip netting too, for people who are still trying to kind of conceptualize it. It is absolutely not sports fishing at all. This is just harvesting fish. Absolutely no sportsmanship into this.
Not at all. That's why I do it. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I mean,
it's like I can get 20 fish in a couple hours. So like, I'm doing this.
I don't fish. I go fishing once a year. I go harvest, then I come back, I freeze it, I vacuum seal it, I can it, I smoke it. I mean, it's like a 3-week process of dealing with all of it, but I love it because I do eat it all year long, and it's amazing.
And it is an amazing opportunity for Alaskans. It really is.
Yeah. You nailed it there with the canning. That's the ticket. I just started canning a couple years ago with my mother-in-law. I can eat, and like I said earlier, I'm not a big salmon eater. Like, fresh salmon's super good. I'll do salmon tacos. Like, I'll do like certain salmon dishes, but like I kind of do all the cooking for the most part with me and my wife. Like, I really enjoy cooking, but you do salmon dip with like canned salmon. It is so good. Like, I can take it out of the store and eat it with a fork. It's so good. And like, make like, instead of like tuna fish sandwiches, you do like salmon. It's so much better. It's just the best. And you can put like jalapenos and flavor it differently. It's, man, the dinner time yet.
I know, it's like making me hungry. Yeah.
It's like, and you can tell like just how animated we're getting about this, that salmon dip netting, it's a big deal in Alaska. So if you're going to do it right, and treat the land right, treat the people right.
Yes.
Should run for office. That'll be my platform.
There you go. Do it.
Bria Jamin.
All right, so I've got one more question here, and we've kind of been dancing around this one, well, a little bit off and on, but this is just kind of talking about kind of the putting it all together, kind of your pros and cons of living on Kenai Soldotna area. So, what are some of the biggest pros and cons you guys have? Because obviously Kenai is awesome, and no place is going to be perfect. So, what are kind of the ups and the downs?
For me, I'll start with pros, and that's just, I was born and raised here, and I don't want to live in the city. So just less population down here is definitely, it's wonderful. And then I know we've said it a million times, but the small town vibes. I mean, you can go anywhere, and mostly you'll find kindness. I mean, you go through a hard time, everybody's pretty tight knit, and there's a good support group here. And then just the outdoors. That's probably my biggest, winter and summer. Fishing, hunting, hiking, skiing, snow machining, trapping.
Mm-hmm.
Negative. It gets cold and dark. I know we've said that a million times. What I do is I like to go find some sunshine out of state, come February. I'll go for a couple days, get my fix, and come back and be happy to sleep in my own bed again.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, the pros, we've been talking about it all night. I mean, like Kendra just said, small town activities, it's all here. Like I said, cons too. I mean, really, my personal biggest con is weather. I look forward to summer and having some sunshine. The wife and I, we camp. We have a little group of us that camp almost every weekend. We have our small bumper pole trailer we take out, and we have just a blast, and nothing sucks more than rain. And this summer we had so much rain, and that's the biggest con for me here. And that's really determines on what part of the peninsula being such as small as it is, it really matters where you live. That's
not our typical summer though.
No, it's not. No. We really have good summers here, but Homer, Seward, your coastal towns that are right on the water, those tend to get a lot more rain than we do. We go towards Sterling, Cooper Landing, that's more inland, a lot less rain. But that's kind of my biggest gripe is just weather here.
Weather or weather predictions?
Weather predictions are a big one too. You can work Monday through Friday to be sunny out, and then come Saturday, it's raining. It's raining all weekend, and Monday and sunny again. You just can't win sometimes. But and then like Kendra said too, the snow in the dark. I mean, some of us have been here our whole lives. It's just life. It's you got dark, you've got snow. It just is what it is. But not every time, and it's just what you get used to. But that tends to weigh on people though, is the weather with the snow in the dark.
Is that why people leave, you think, when they say, hey, I need you guys to sell my house, I can't take another winter in Alaska or in the area? Does it tend to be the darkness and the cold or the rain that push them out?
It's a big reason.
Yeah, you nailed that, Nani. I hear that a lot. I can't take another winter.
Yeah, we had a client at his house, and he's like, I will not be here one more winter. And my parents, they left. They're down in Nevada. They were in Laughlin and then Vegas area. My sisters, and I'm the last one in Alaska. My family pretty much all left. I have some aunts, uncles, grandma here, but my mom really just kind of couldn't do the darkness anymore. And now she's the extreme heat, which I don't understand how people do that. I go down there. I went down there in July, and I was like, okay, I will take January in Alaska every day instead of 110 degrees. I think that's crazy, but
that's because you're a true Alaskan, born and raised.
Yeah. How many of those people actually come back, out of curiosity? Because I see people leave and then they are gone for 2 or 3 years and then they come back. So do you guys find that happens in your location as well?
I had a client that was my neighbor, actually. I sold their house. They went to Texas, and she texted me this summer. She probably, if she's listening, she knows who she is, but she texted me this summer, and she was like, I'm coming back. It's too hot here. And now that I think it's cooled down, I haven't heard from her since, but Facebook, we're good friends. But
Yeah.
I would say most people come back for the summer. They don't come back all year. They just come back for the summer.
Or they've remembered what the heat is like, and like you said, you'd rather take the snow and the cold over the heat.
The saying goes, you can bundle up for the cold, but you can't take enough clothes off for the heat.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, the way it works in those hot locations, I just have to remind people, okay, remember, unless you're in a very, very specific place, like you're always going to have a season that's not going to be your favorite. And really, for most of these places that people are moving to, they're going to the extremes. And so, like the winter, what their season that used to be their least favorite is now summer. And like, however much they didn't like winter before, they just don't like summer that much now.
Yeah.
All right. So, gang, we've got one more question coming in here from Hot Shot here. So, what do you think are the best Kenai establishments?
Yeah. Hey. Well, I don't know if I can tell you that because that's what keeps it
You're gonna make somebody mad with that answer. No. You
My-
know all of them. No.
Yeah, my go-to is Kenai River Brewing Company, Kenai River Brewery. They have an amazing burger and good beer, and just a good hangout. You know, another place a lot of locals go and just hang out and see friends and be able to talk to people.
I guess we forgot to touch on another pro for our area, and I mean Anchorage and Wasilla. All of Alaska really falls in this category. But we have a lot of breweries here. If you're really big into like the IPAs, good microbreweries, like we have
good
a
ones.
lot of them, and I haven't found a bad one yet, but
St. Elias is
St.
a
Elias
wonderful
is good there.
brewing company, and they're a restaurant, so they've got pizzas, and we actually went there for lunch today. And
go-to, places.
St. Elias,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
I actually used to work there.
That chicken pesto, that's good. It's bad today. But as far as like, I don't know, I'm more of like that quiet vibe. I'm not big into like loud music and tons of people. So like, I don't know.
The Duck is popular. The Duck they've got a restaurant and they've got a bar side.
Good food there too.
They've got wonderful food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I seen quite a few cars parked there last Saturday night when I was driving by.
That's probably when we were like popping places to go for like people, but like I like that hole in the wall vibe. Like there's the Bridge Lounge, which is just down the road from us. And
it's right on the river.
It's right on the river. You could literally sit on the balcony. It's like actually one of the best places to go in the summertime. If I leave work early and I just want to go hang out in the sun and grab a beer, like there's a deck over the river, sun coming across. Like you can sit out there and get a suntan and drink a beer and look at the river. It's just amazing.
And see people fishing down there too.
Yeah, it's right
pretty
there.
Cool.
And then funny enough, the bar at the airport called the Upper Deck. That's my secret place.
To tell people about that.
This is inside trader info.
That's inside, man. That is like top secret. Don't tell nobody. But it's actually the saying goes, it's the Kenai's best kept secret or something like that. I think it's their website. It's Kenai's best kept secret. But
and then you can go down below to Brothers Cafe, and they've got phenomenal donuts.
Oh man, maple bacon donut is the bomb. Like that's the most Canadian thing ever, but it's so good. And they'll actually bring your food up to you. So if you go down and order some food, go upstairs, get a beer, like they'll actually bring your food up to you to the bar up there. And I love airplanes and aviation. So you sit there, watch airplanes, drink a beer, and it's usually very quiet. Like if I need a quiet space, like work on my computer, do a couple things, like I'll just go up there. Like before I had a hotspot on my phone, I was out running around. I'd just go up there and like bum their Wi-Fi and eat some food and watch some airplanes and get some work done. Like it's just a cool place, but don't tell nobody.
Yeah. What is the demographics? I mean, in the area, would you say like 50 plus, 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, like kids? What is your main demographic?
20s to 40s probably at most of your bars.
Well, not just bars, but like in the area, you guys have a lot of 20 to 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's lots of families. So we've got lots of kids. Yeah. And winter time, I would say definitely 20s to 40s. Summertime, that's when we get all of our snowbirds back. And then I would say, you know,
there's actually a lot of the last question was the bar question. That's why I say 20 to 40s, and I'm not a big bar goer, so I don't really know all the ins and outs. But as far as like actually our population goes, man, we have a lot of retirement community here too. Like a lot of people retire to Alaska, and they kind of get the gist of like, don't go out in the super deep snow, the winds. They stock up. They have big pantries. They plan their trips to town once a week. Like a lot of retirement folks out here actually here. They find a nice view property on a lake, on a river, and it's actually quite a bit of those.
Yeah, we get quite a few clients who Alaska has been their dream. They finally retired and can make it happen. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we have all kinds of flavors of ages of people. I mean, Kendra knows more with the whole, she's got the youngins in the school, so she sees all of the young families there.
Yeah, outstanding. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for taking the time to kind of sit down with us and kind of share your insights and expertise in the Kenai area. It's been very informative. I feel like I learned some stuff from tonight. So, you know, thanks for kind of taking the time to kind of explain all that to us. And everyone else, thank you very much for hopping on to the live stream. If you'd like to get in contact with Jonathan and Kendra, the link for that is going to be in the description section. Just go ahead and go register to the website. Just make sure you put Kenai in the little comment section so I know like who I need to be directing you towards. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jamin.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.